Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. I know there are still some individuals having dinner, and they'll be coming in shortly, but I didn't want to continue to have you all wait because I do my very best to make sure we're done at 7. So I am Latisha Johnson, the District 4 City Council representative for the area, and want to say thank you to Pastor Doug. Is Pastor Doug here? He is not here. We have our lovely District 4 residents, my Chief of Staff's better half, Sharon Gray, who is here representing the church. Sharon represents the church. She's also on the board of Morningside, and she keeps Gary Gray in line.
That's a hard job. Am I praying or just saying hello? Go ahead, pray for it. Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here with you guys today. And yes, this is my church home, and I'm also living in District 4 with some of you. So I'm happy to be here with you, and I welcome you to Grace Community Church. Come visit us sometime on Sunday morning. I want to open us up with prayer, if that's okay. Lord God, we thank you for this day. This is the day you have made. We are rejoicing. We are glad in it. Thank you for such a beautiful day. Thank you for this time together. Thank you for this meeting. We ask that you give us wisdom and ideas and answers on how we can make our community better. We thank you for Councilwoman Latisha Johnson and all she's doing for our community. We ask that you give her strength to continue, help her team, so that they are all doing your will within our city. We thank you for those that are on their way, as that you keep them safe, and that those that are here, they will leave feeling better about their community than when they came. And we give you all glory and honor for today. Let your will be done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. So just so you all know, Grace Community Church has just an amazing group of District 4 residents that are all around. If you came in and saw the security person, his name is Alex Harvey. Alex, before I got elected, Alex was the upholstery instructor for an upholstery class that we taught within the community. So please make sure you say hello to him. He is also a District 4 resident. And so before we bring up Mr. Gaines, I just want to share with all of you, I hope you've heard the exciting news from budget last week. Last week, Monday, we closed out our fiscal year 2025 budget hearings, and I am extremely ecstatic for some of the things that we were able to get included within the budget, specifically for District 4, because you all have been extremely vocal. It helps me to stay focused on the task at hand. And so finally, we were able to get $2 million to support the rehabilitation of Monteith Library. I'm really ecstatic about that. Thank you all so much. So we will be partnering with the Detroit Public Library Association, helping them to do some of the repairs there. I also have reached out to some union organizations as well as a developer who wants to help with the rehabilitation of the library. And so it's something that we can certainly expedite to get it opened sooner than 2027, if that is the will of the Detroit Public Library Association. But we will continue to work alongside of them to ensure that the work happens that the city is now accountable for expeditiously, and work to continue to get that branch open. One of the other things that I'm really excited about is some of you may have heard that when Stellantis came before City Council, probably now 2.5 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had a conversation. Actually, I had a conversation with the mayor when he presented his budget, and I asked the mayor for his assistance in addressing the community surrounding the Mack engine plant. And so when Ron Stallworth came before us to give us an update on the project, he indicated that they have 2.7, almost $2.8 million that were not used in the project that are being redirected to be utilized for home repair grants. And so if you've already applied, your name is on the list. We are asking that they continue going through that list, and now we'll be able to service nearly 200 households in the impact area to provide some assistance to them. So that came during our budget hearings. We also have $1 million that has been secured for what I've called the Healthy Homes Hazardous Reduction Program. It will be a pilot program specifically in the Jefferson-Chalmers community, and when Mr. Gaines comes up here and talks about CDBG DR, you'll understand why the pilot program is in Jefferson-Chalmers. These dollars are specifically to help with remediating mold in basements in the Jefferson-Chalmers community, because that is not a part of the Basement Backup Protection Program. It is not a part of the Basement Backup Protection Program, and it very well should be. And so now we are going to use that $1 million to help clean out mold from basements in the Jefferson-Chalmers community. So that was a tremendous win for us as well. We also have $350,000 that is going to complete the Whittier planning study. There was a planning study that was started in Whittier over a year ago, and the funding was not secured to complete it. And so the community sent an email to me probably 2 days before a budget concluded, and we were able to shift $350,000 to complete that Whittier planning study. So our focus is always the entire district, and so we have some phenomenal information that Mr. Gaines is going to share with us that includes a number of communities in District 4. We have been advocating for this and glad that the administration has heard our appeal to ensure that we're doing everything we can to provide support to residents throughout the district as we continue to recognize how climate impacts our houses and impacts the environment as a whole. And so with that, I think I have a couple of other announcements that I forgot from budget, but I'll make sure I remember to share that with you all as I come back up. But I want to welcome Drew Gaines. He is with the Housing and Revitalization Department, and he's going to share information about the CDBG DR. CDBG is the Community Development Block Grant disaster recovery funds that we receive from the federal government. He's going to share with you where you can apply, and as I always appeal to everyone, when you are here and you gather information that is being provided, please, please, please share that information with your neighbors. I know many of you are community leaders, but it's vitally important that we get this information shared so that District 4 residents are able to benefit from these programs. And if you know me, you know that I want to share information with you when the resources are available, not once they're all gone. So with that, Drew Gaines.
All right, well, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Drew Gaines, and I am the program manager for our private sewer repair program. I want to thank you, first and foremost, Councilmember Johnson, for the invitation to come out and speak with you all. Also, thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules and days to hear about the information that we have through the Housing and Revitalization Department. Once again, my name is Drew Gaines. The information that I will be sharing with you guys, I apologize that the screen is a little bit smaller in this vast room, but the information I will be sharing will be vast, but I don't want you guys to be overwhelmed with the information. So what we'll do is try to make sure that we can either email it or make sure it gets to you after the presentation concludes. I will share contact information as well. Just some housekeeping rules. If we'll have a question and answer at the end of the presentation, so if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. What this presentation will cover is the private sewer repair program as through the HUD's CDBG disaster recovery funding. It will not cover any of the other programs that are funded through the city, and it also will not cover any other programs within the city of Detroit that are funded through federal funding as well. So the CDBG Disaster Recovery Private Sewer Repair Program, also known as PSRP, this is a program ran through the Housing and, or managed through the Housing and Revitalization Department in partnership with the Detroit Sewage and Water Department. And so prior to pretty much basically the flooding event that happened in 2021 of June 25th through the 26th was, terrible, and it caused a lot of flooding in the city of Detroit. And so based off of that, it was like a record rainfall where there was like 6 to 8 inches that fell over a 12-hour period of time, which is unnormal or uncommon. And based off of that, it was declared a natural disaster, and the city was awarded funding through HUD. So based off of that, as you can see, or probably to the best of your ability see, this is a mapping of all the flooding. And so with this funding, we were able to take the data from all of the basement or the water department claims that came in, and based off of the census through HUD, there is a requirement that we serve communities or neighborhoods that, or individuals that meet the area media income, meaning that you can only make a certain amount of money in order to be eligible for this funding. And so what we did was we took all of the basement claims through the water department, and we took all of the census information that kind of let us know and identify the areas that were highly impacted based off of this event, and also met HUD's requirement, which is a national objective through the federal government to meet these needs. And based off of that, we were able to identify several neighborhoods in District 4. Those neighborhoods are Cornerstone Village, Morningside, Chandler Park, Fox Creek, Riverbend, and West End. So like, I know a lot of people and residents were impacted by this event, but we went based off of the data. We also went based off of those that meet the HUD or federal requirement in that area media income. And we'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of the presentation. So I understand that there are several communities within District 4 that are not eligible for these services under this particular funding. However, just as Councilmember Johnson said, that the Water Department and there's other funding that's being secured, mainly to help Jefferson Chalmers and other residents in the different districts throughout the city of Detroit. And so they're working really hard and diligently to secure this funding, to secure other additional money for the program. However, we do have programs that if you're not eligible and you want to take advantage of them, we do have our Detroit Housing Resource Helpline. And I know that this is tiny font, but there is a number that you can call that they'll be able to offer other myriad of services through this housing resource. Some of them, which you'll probably find very interesting or available to you, is the home repair and maintenance program that you can take advantage of that. So once again, I'll share that number with you all at the end of this program when we send this information out to you guys. But that is for, that will help residents that are not in the eligible communities at this time. Another one is the Water Department's direct number that most of you, or many of you, or all of us pretty much have. But if you received communication, because the Water Department did pilot a program in 2022 with ARPA funding, which was called the Basement Backup Protection Program, and they were able to meet with some of the residents in the area and try to do some of the work as funding was available. If you have any questions or received any communications or any letters from them based off of that program, any type of eligibility, the number to call them and follow up on that is 313, the 267 number 8000. So in regards to the private sewer repair program, which was launched at the beginning of this year, this program is similar to the basement backup program, just the funding is different for it, meaning that there's a HUD federal requirement for this program. But the eligible repairs for this program is that we will, once you are deemed eligible and we receive your documents and you complete an application, you'll be eligible for clean and inspect the sewer or lateral service line with a camera scope. So they'll go into each one of the homes and they'll do a camera scope of your private sewer and then be able to see what the determinant factor is for that's causing the backup in your home. Based off of that information that is received, they'll look to see if they need to replace that sewer line or install a backwater valve, or in rare cases or instances, because a lot of homes do not, within the eligible neighborhoods, do not need a sump pump, but if for some reason that you do need a sump pump, they will be able to install or repair the sump pump that you already have. On a case-by-case basis, we'll also replace your furnaces or boilers and hot water tanks as well. And so I want to talk a little bit about the eligibility requirements if you are in one of the eligible neighborhoods. Some of the things that you'll need to be, once again, is you need to be in that area media income, which we'll talk about in a few slides here. But we are offering this program for our homeowners. But if you are a landlord and you have tenants within your home that do meet the income eligibility, we'll definitely offer this program to you as well. You just have to be registered. Your home has to be registered with BC. And so when it's registered with BC, you have to meet the requirements of a landlord with the city of Detroit to make sure that your home is up to par. So you, a lot of times, I hate to use this word for lack of better words, there's slumlords out there that are raising the rent drastically, but they're not taking care of the home. And a lot of people, what we found out through the data in the city of Detroit, they're exiting the homes and becoming homeless because the homes are inhabitable to live in, and the landlord is kicking them out and then taking the next person in. But however, through this program, we are making sure that you are registered with BSEED and that your home is being inspected regularly and up to par, and that you're meeting the requirements as a homeowner, landlord, and your tenants. Also, in this program, you have to have proof to the government that your home was impacted by the flooding event in 2021. I know individuals' homes have been impacted probably afterwards or even prior to that, but in this particular instance, we have to show the federal government that your home was impacted by that flooding event in 2021 of June 25. So if you made an insurance claim and maybe your insurance claim was denied, that's okay. If you just have that document or paperwork that shows that you at least did a homeowner's insurance claim around that time, that will be acceptable as information to show the government that your home was impacted around that time. If you did a Detroit water basement claim, that will be accepted, and whether the claim, or a FEMA claim, so whether these claims were approved or whether they were denied, that's okay as long as you have that actual paperwork. In most instances for eligibility requirements and paperwork requirements, we'll even take, we'll try to get as creative as we can with the federal government. So if you have receipts showing that you went to Home Depot around that time to buy a sump pump to pump the water out yourself, you can actually try to use that as well as documentation that your home was impacted due to that flood. Receipts and paperwork have to be documented from that time period of June 25th through September of 2021 in order for it to be eligible. Also, the home has to meet structural requirements. So what does that mean? We know that there are multi-home family homes. If you have a single-family home or a duplex or any home that holds within 1 to 4 units, that will be eligible. Commercial properties are not eligible. And then also, you can't have a duplication of benefits. So a duplication of benefits, what the government is saying with that is that if you receive FEMA money or money from the Small Business Administration to repair your home for those damages, that simply says that we cannot provide services for money that you already use for that particular service. But anything in addition will be able to service and repair. So once again, if you use any of that FEMA money to replace a furnace, we wouldn't be able to use this particular funding or work to fix the furnace or do anything in that nature. However, if the repairs that they did is not sufficient and the damage to it is exceeding that, we can do anything that was exceeding that. Also, in regards to some of the questions that we got regarding land contracts, if you have a land contract, you are eligible for services as well. You just have to show that you have an active contract and that you're making current payments on that. Another thing that will make you eligible for these services as well is that you have to be current on your property taxes. I know this is a lot of information, but we did make a checklist of the appropriate documentation that you would need. I believe I have some documents and handouts on the table as well, but once again, I can also email this to you electronically if you so need it. In regards to the area media income, what does that mean? How much money do you have to make to be eligible for services? So with the federal government, which is a national thing, it's not something that's just predicated for the city of Detroit or residents, but this is nationally across the board. When you're using federal funds, as most of you know, you have to meet an eligibility requirement with your income. And so there is a scale that is provided by the federal government that says within the city of Detroit. And what they did was they used the area media income, meaning that they used income from surrounding suburbs so that it would be higher. So if you know in the city of Detroit, if they just solely use that, then the income would be lower, meaning that it would probably be less than $53,000. But because they use the area media income of surrounding cities, there is the 80% is met at if you're one person in a household, then you can't make more than $53,050, and then the scale goes up based off from there based off of that. Another interesting thing about eligibility with this particular funding is that everyone in the house that is 18 years or older, all of your income is calculated together to make the area median income or eligibility requirements. And so when you're filling out the pre-screen form or filling out application, you just have to include the income from all the individuals that are 18 and older. Okay, our timeline. Most of you probably have already, if you live in the eligible areas and heard about the program, have already filled out a pre-screen form, and maybe you've done the full application and submitted some of the documents. With this program, just revving up and getting started on our end, this is what our estimated timeline is looking like. We are accepting applications right now, currently, in February and March. We're reviewing those applications and documents that are being submitted. One of the questions that's commonly asked is how long is the program? Because this is a multi-year program, up to 6 years to spend down the funding, we're accepting applications as while funding is available. After what our expectation is for this month and next month is we're right now trying to procure our contractors to be able to work with the city of Detroit to go into the homes and to make the repairs. And so that is the bid is, or the request for qualifications is being submitted, and we're working with our Office of Procurement to be able to secure those contractors. Once we find those contractors and they put their bids in and they're reviewed and accepted, our hope is from June to December or the third quarter within the years to really go into the homes and start those, start construction. And start doing walks and doing the scope of work, seeing what the home would need. And so we're anticipating for that work to start and construction to start from June to December. So how do we get started? So with our pre-screen form, it's a short form that we have online. There is a QR code if you want to scan the QR code. If not, I do have an actual pre-screen form, hard copy, located in the back for you. And it just really is for us to check to make sure that you are in one of the eligible neighborhoods, you're in the income eligibility range, that you do not live in a floodplain, because with this particular funding, we excluded floodplains. Also to check if you are have received previous assistance. If so, what that previous assistance was from any federal government or bank loan and things in that nature, because we want to make sure, once again, that there is not a duplication of benefits, and making sure that we have the proper information to be able to guide you in providing the documentation to us, and then also the type of house structure. So that's what we're typically looking for in the pre-screen. Once you've completed a pre-screen, we'll kind of go through that, and then that's when the fun work comes in. Once you pass the pre-screening stage, we ask you to complete a full document. So with the federal government, as most of you know or may not know, there is documentation heavy. They ask you, as you probably all know, for everything. they ask you for everything. And so I did print out a list for us to kind of go over and look at what that looks like. But once you complete the full application and complete the proper forms and submit the documentation. So one of the things here on this screen is what the pre-screen looks like and what is necessary for you to fill out so that way you're deemed eligible. Is that we need to know the type of property information, meaning if you're a homeowner, if you are a landlord or a tenant in the home. One of the things is if you're, like I said, if you're a landlord, the amount of houses that you can submit is limited. If you are the income amount, you want to make sure that you fill that out completely and let us know how much you make either monthly or yearly, or if you are on any SSI or SSD. Also provided is the homeowner's insurance. We do not require you to have homeowner's insurance for this program. There is a waiver form that you can complete. However, you just have to prove on that actual waiver the reason why you don't have homeowner's insurance, whether it's the quote was too high from the insurance company, or if you couldn't afford it, or if they just didn't, or the insurance company denied you. Another thing is that we need to know, like I said, if you're current with your property taxes, you just have to show us proof. A lot of people are just only paying, they're not paying a mortgage, but they're paying just the property taxes on their home. You just have to show us that you're current with the city of Detroit, have that documentation readily available. If not, we can always assist in checking our system as well. If you are on a payment plan with your property taxes, that is okay as well. You just have to show us that you're current on those payments and not delinquent. And then also, like I said, mentioned before, how many units within the home. So once again, the application process, you can either complete the application online. We do have it accessible, so you can complete it in the comfort of your own home if you have access to internet. If not, we're all about eliminating barriers as much as we can with the city of Detroit, and so we are doing multiple days where we're out in the community and we're helping and assisting people that do not have access to technology, where we're helping them complete the application for them. I know in some cases we have individuals a lot of people have disabilities and are not able to write the actual application, but we, fill it in the best way we can with you, and then we just have you to sign it, but we always go over the application with you. In regards to, like I said, we do have the documents. It's pretty lengthy, once again, but we'll go over that with you when you meet with us, or if you talk with us over the phone. If you have any questions and you are completing the application online, we'll go through all of that, and then our intake specialist will work with you to make sure you have those documents within a timely manner as well. So I just want to go over some of the frequently asked questions before we go into our question and answers. Once again, we talked a little bit about how the districts were selected with this particular funding. We went over that, but once again, we wanted to make sure that there was equity within the dollars amount spent. With the amount of money that we receive, we're estimating that we're able to help about 1,500 residents. And once again, we know that's not a lot of residents compared to the impact of the nature of the 2021 flooding. And once again, we are working with looking into several funding opportunities to be able to expand to multiple neighborhoods. If you already, once again, completed a form for the pilot program that the water department was managing, which was called the Basement Backup Protection Program, you would have to fill out and go through the application process again with us. However, if you were within that program and got approved and things of that nature, and your contractors came out to your house and looked at your property, you can call them at that number I provided for you to follow up with them and where you are. In regards to completing application, once again, you would have to complete that private sewer repair program application that is funded through HUD. So our intake days, where we'll be in the community and assisting those with applications. We have 2 that will be coming up in May 1st and May 2nd, and we're going to be at the Youth Snapback Organization building. They graciously opened their space for us to go in and meet with residents in the city of Detroit. If you have additional questions and things like this, and I'll send this out to you guys as well via email or phone call. If you don't have an email, we'll make sure that you get the information. But we will be at Youth Snapback from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on May. And then May 1st, and then May 2nd, we'll be there from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. To assist with any application needs as well. And I believe this concludes my presentation. And I'm not sure if, oh, I'm sorry, let me get the address. The address is 14901. I slid off of there. East Warren Avenue, and that area code for that is 48224. And I believe that is in the Morningside neighborhood. And once again, just for repeating purposes, 14901 East Warren Avenue. And we'll have more of these intake days. One of the things that we're doing right now is hiring more staff to be able to work within the different districts to be able to assist residents with completing applications and collecting documents. And so there is no limit to what we'll do to eliminate barriers. So if for whatever reason you can't make it out your homes, we'll show up to your home and we will snap pictures and do whatever we have to make sure that we assist with collecting those documents. And so after that, did anyone have any questions? Or do?
A very thorough presentation, right? One second, excuse me. I got it, yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm from the Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood. My name is Harry Jolliffe. I'm a part of the Jefferson Chalmers District Council. And my question is this: why do we have to go through so many hoops to get help in our area? Now, when that water did fail in 23, they said it was an electronical thing, but I got pictures right now on my camera where water coming up through my basement. I'm standing on the steps. They came out, the city came out and took a look, and they would not go in my basement. They told me up front, I said, well, I got mold, I got water. And they told me, no, I ain't going in the basement. Now, this other thing you're talking about going in the sewage, a friend of mine named Jack Rabbit, he showed that they came in there. They went in the back alley and put a trap there. But now when they put a trap in the back going into the back sewage, it's a one that goes from the front of the house. It's 2. One where they took the water when it was draining into your gutters. They told you to let it run on the grass. That crop is still there. I've been in that house over 40 some odd years. Then you got the main drain that goes out to the back like you was talking about, putting a camera in. But yet and still, why are we going through so many hoops in order to get what we need? It sounds like a bunch of rhetoric, how you talking and how you double talking. I got to meet this criteria. I got to meet that criteria. We need help now. We're not sitting here to listen to you to send us through all these hoops in order to get what we need. We needed help now. Now, a lot of us, like me, I replaced my wash machine, I replaced my dryer, I replaced my furnace. And I don't have what you call flood insurance. I have water insurance damage. Now, I appreciate you for standing here and telling us all of this. But like you said, you have a number that we can call to help us out. And I want to make sure I get your number before I leave here, because I am not what you call can use a computer. And 90% of the people that I represent that live in my area can't use a computer. Now, if you're willing to come out and listen to us and come in our house and show us how and what to do, and I do appreciate my councilman woman, Latisha Johnson. She the only somebody that I know that listened to us. She have been out there and seen us. But the rest of this rhetoric you talking, I ain't never heard of it. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie and uphold nobody. But I know this what you're talking is just a bunch of rhetoric to me. And that's the way I feel. I don't know about the rest of these people.
Mr. Jalafi, thank you so much for expressing yourself. I do want to share with you that the basement backup protection program that Mr. Gaines talked about is in the Jefferson Chalmers community now doing installations. We have a list of everyone who applied. The Detroit Water and Sewage Department came before City Council to get some new contractors to implement the program. I have in my inbox that Dennis Perkins just sent to me probably 10 minutes ago a list of all the properties that have been completed, and I already had the list of everyone who applied. I'm going through that list to work with the water department to make sure that we're able to expedite completing the Jefferson Chalmers community, which is separate from this particular program. And so the Detroit Water and Sewage Department's goal is to have the Jefferson Chalmers community completed by this summer. I'm going through the list, and I'll communicate directly with any of you who may be on that list who have not heard back. Mr. Jalafi, we can talk one-on-one. But I do have that list, and we'll make sure that we are expediting going through that list in the Jefferson Chalmers community. Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Jalafi. You know, we will take care of you. We're going to work directly with you. Ms. Smith, before we get to you, Dennis actually has the microphone back here. Yes.
My name is Perry Knight, and I live directly across the street. And I was wondering, am I covered? And the person that just talked, he's right. We have to go through so many hoops. FEMA gave me $5,000. I worked in the heating and cooling industry for 35 years. My furnace was ruined. I rebuilt my own furnace with the help of one of my friends. But a lot of people are not able to do that. The people that stayed down the street from me, they had to buy new furnaces. I did receive a picture from the water department of my sewer line, and I misplaced it. And I've written letters, I've called. It's hard to get in contact with them, but I've written letters, and I cannot get another picture. And he's right, we have to jump through hoops. FEMA asked me for receipts for the parts for my furnace and my hot water tank 3 times. They said the reason was because they lost it. I did a video recording, a phone, you know, like what you call FaceTime. with the damage done in my basement. My insurance company said it was $11,000 worth of damage done to my basement, but I didn't include the flood damage. It's just, you know, they just sent us through so many hoops. They asked me for 3 different receipts for they lost all the receipts. I sent them the copies of it 3 times before they finally gave me some money. They also wrote nasty letters saying that FEMA is not supposed to be used for insurance. I got 3 of those letters. But he's right. We have to jump through hoops. We have to be talked down to, you know, telling us, and those letters were really nasty. We're not, you know, we're not the insurance company. And that's all I wanted to say, you know. Oh, when are they going to give me the pictures? Another thing is that every November, my water bill, I pay my water bill, I pay the full amount. Every November, I bought the house in 2014, I get a bill for over $100. That went on. I kept writing letters. Finally, the only relief I got was they, you know, said I didn't owe any money for like 4 months. That happened like 2 times. I threatened to go down there with my receipts. When I wrote letters saying that, that's when I finally, like I said, got relief. Why do they do that to people? I talked to my mother about it. She said, you're paying for houses that's vacant. That's what it is. I don't have any leaks. I wrote letters to the water department to come in and inspect my house. I have no leaks or anything. Why is my water bill in November $100 and something? Okay, thank you.
So I just heard you speak with the eligibility for if you stay in the Cornerstone Village area. One of the eligibility requirements, and it sounds like you have it, is that if you have those letters from FEMA, you can provide that information to us as part of your documentation support that you were impacted by this event. And then what we can do is go, along with the other application that you submit, you'll be approved based off of that information that we can send contractors to your home to be able to inspect and do whatever repairs that we could do to alleviate some of the water that's coming into the home. Oh, the great thing is like that, if you did do a FEMA request, they partner with FEMA in order to look into their system to be able to find that information for you. So like I said earlier before, we understand most of the concern about jumping through hoops, the technology issue, and we're dedicated to trying to eliminate as many barriers that we can. Regrettably, I cannot speak for FEMA because I work for the Housing Department and Revitalization, and I'm not a representative with the actual water department. But what I can do is try to look into certain things for you once we start working with you and get your application, if you had any additional questions, to make sure that we can pass that information along to the correct person.
And before we go to the next question, let me acknowledge my team members. Dennis Perkins is here. Dennis is the Deputy Chief of Staff. Gary Gray is the Chief of Staff. Cynthia McClure, wave your hand, one of the community liaisons, and Carlina Toombs is the other community liaison. And so I wanted to acknowledge them so that you all know who to share your information, concerns, questions with if you have any that need to be addressed. So specifically for the Detroit Water and Sewage Department relative to your bill in November, the other thing is the Detroit Water and Sewage Department will join us next month at our monthly meeting, and we can ask direct questions of them as well, and they can provide an update on the Basement Backup Protection Program.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, you said that you had a list of people who's supposed to get the backflow preventer. What about the ones that don't know anything about it? They were not able to get online. What are you going to do for them? Because there are some seniors that know nothing about it. So how are you going to handle that?
We are reviewing the list of people who have applied, and right now going through that list to utilize the $4 million that were earmarked for the Jefferson Chalmers community. If there are additional dollars that come in, we'll certainly go knocking door to door to make sure that people are aware. And this is, again, why I ask everybody to make sure that we're sharing information. I know some people that are very active in the Jefferson Chalmers community who knew about it but decided not to apply.
Well, I applied for 5 people on my block because they didn't know nothing about it. But we still have seniors that don't get the newsletter or anything, and they are confused. And when I talk to them about it, I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that because I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, we did have our team going out when the application process was open. We went door to door sharing information. We can do as much as we can do to encourage people because, as you all know, we're here to provide support to our residents. I have been very vocal about the communities in the district that have dealt with this for years and making sure that you all have access to resources to be able to address it. Hence, the $1 million in the budget, just to make sure that you are made whole to address mold in addition to all of these other items. So, Ms. Smith, I'm doing everything that I can possibly think of. But if there's ever an opportunity for the Jefferson Chalmers CDC or any other entity within Jefferson Chalmers, if you know of people and you say, Latisha, we need you to go talk to this person. We need you to go talk to that person. We're happy to do it because the last thing that I want to see is for the dollars to be gone and people to still have problems.
Okay, now.
I tell you one other thing that I want to make sure you know. A lot of us that lived in the Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood, we had contractors going through that neighborhood, and they was telling us, we'll charge you, we'll cost you this much to put in this ventilation. They did it up and down Jefferson and Chalmers. Jack Rabbit was one of the ones that was going through the neighborhood telling people, when they told them they had to pay, people said no. And that's not on you. That's on people that came into your neighborhood and know that you had a problem. And they was telling people all up and down Chalmers, you had to pay to have this service done. That's injustice on what it reflects on you. See, when they told the people they had to pay, people said, no, I don't want you in my house. And I know some of us right here have been did like that.
And Jack Rabbit did reach out to me, and he shared that with me. I relayed that information to the water department, and that's when the water department came back to city council with different vendors, with different contractors to come in to do the work because of some of those challenges that we were hearing back from the community. So I appreciate that feedback because it says to us, okay, we need to do something differently. We need to identify other contractors who can still come in and do the work, but get it done in a way where we are still respectful to our residents and that we're sharing accurate information with our residents. Now, I will say this, there may have been some confusion around that because initially, when the Basement Backup Protection Program was started, there was a fee that was associated with it. According to Director Brown, there were not a lot of people that were willing to even pay the 10% of the initial cost. And so he reduced it from 600 to 100 and then still had challenges and just got rid of the fee altogether. I am aware of some contractors who were coming in saying you needed to hydrojet your line and it's going to cost you thousands of dollars to do that before any of the work could be done. But that information should come to our office because then we can hold the contractor accountable. We can make sure that we're not contracting with those companies again so that we have companies that are going in and doing the work adequately and appropriately and that the residents are happy with the work that's been done. So Jackrabbit has been elated since then. Since he had his work done, he texted me and shared with me that he had his backflow preventer installed. So I was happy to hear that. Uh, Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And we'll make sure that we hold people accountable as well. So again, I say that information is important for us to be aware of. Any other questions? Ms. Johnson? Oh,
Hello, my name is Denise Shows, and I moved from Detroit out of state 17 years ago, and I returned to Detroit 6 months ago. And what I think the city, one reason why we relocated, my family, my husband and I, is we felt like the city of Detroit did not care about its residents. And I raised my kids in Boston Edison district, and it was a feeling that the city didn't care about the community or the residents. Since I'm been back, I'm not sure. I thank you for the opportunity to speak. I was excited when I found out I'm a member. I live in District 4, so I will be attending the meetings, and I will be a little vocal. Thank you.
thank you. And so for everyone here who knows me, everyone knows that my heart and my passion is for our residents in the community. So I ran a nonprofit organization before I got elected. And I remember having neighbors saying to me, Latisha, you have to get paid. You have to get paid. It wasn't about getting paid. It was about making sure that residents had access to resources, and that we were engaging with residents and understanding what the needs were of our residents. And so I appreciate Mr. Jalafi talking about him knowing that I care, and I hope you hear that in the district. You can always reach out to me. You can always reach out to our office, because I'm not a person who looks for the glitz and glamour. I'm about getting resolved to issues. And so that's why I ask for our residents to be vocal, to share with me, because if I don't hear it directly from you, I don't know that it's actually the case. You all see me, you all don't see everything that I do when you're not seeing me, right? So I'm in committee meetings, and Eric knows because Eric chimes in. He's watching city council meetings. Michelle Jackson is watching city council meetings. So I appreciate the text messages that come to me saying, thank you so much for everything you did during the budget season, because I don't always get that. But you have to know that if I stand for nothing else, I stand for advocating for our residents throughout the district. But I always ask everybody to make sure that you're communicating with me so that I can be responsive. Thank you. I'm glad you came back. Ms. Johnson?
Hi, I'm Dorothy Johnson, and I'm a resident of Morningside. I applied for, I think, the backflow preventer program in 2022. I just called DWSD to ask them did they have my application in the system and what the date was on it. And that was March of 2022. My questions are the private sewer repair. This is for your backyard sewer line?
Right, that is correct. So it's for your private sewer line, and so what they do. Sorry, it's for the private sewer line, so it is in your backyard, but it's the line that connects to And forgive me if I'm not as comprehensive in plumbing, but it is a line that connects to the city's line. And so what they do is they use a camera scope to look to see where the issue is, and then they'll go in and kind of to alleviate that issue.
Okay.
Also to address, if you did apply for, in 2022, what we'll do is if you fill out your information for us for the private sewer repair program, I'll connect with the Detroit Water Department to see where they were with that, in that application, their application process, and to see where we can continue on to see what needs to be done. So please make sure that you complete the pre-screen information so we can have that on there.
Okay, my next question is, what's the maximum award for a homeowner?
So what do you mean, like, what do you mean the maximum award by? Because it's.
Money amount.
It's not monetary, it's based off of eligible services and repairs. So whatever the home is in need of and whatever is deemed necessary to make sure that the issues that you're having within what those, the private sewer lateral line, the downspouts, and the camera scope and et cetera, they'll do all of that, making sure that they can alleviate the problem and the issues that you're having with the backflow of water.
Okay, what if the homeowner needs the basement actually waterproofed?
Waterproofing is not one of the eligible services, but if they're doing any of the services that I mentioned before, that we can kind of go over offline as well to just kind of go through that that dotted line of what that is, those were the services that will be included. So it wouldn't be like waterproofing. There's a myriad of services that come with waterproofing, but if any of whatever the issue is that's causing within the eligible services that need to be repaired is what's going to be deemed eligible.
Okay, and my last statement is probably just that, and it's a statement about persons who fall through the crack, who I was on the 5 o'clock Monday all districts call when they presented. They were talking about the water issue and the water department, but there were persons who were on the call who were homeowners who were forced to get the Small Business Administration loan because they got FEMA money, not enough. They were underinsured, which is typical in Detroit, and the insurance payout was not enough. I'm one of those persons, but because I live alone, I'm always right there, a few dollars above the program guideline. So I'm glad to see that this program takes into consideration Detroit's entire income, which, you know, is graduated a lot higher. But there are people out there who are still hurting, and they're the people that are falling in the cracks. What I'm doing now is just trying to conserve fiscally so I can waterproof down the line because, you know, so I'll see what the city does with the March application, but what they told me is that they sent it over. They think they sent it over 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, but they are back in the aviation area where they started. So I told them, go figure that. Are you starting over or are you finishing aviation? And they said that aviation was incomplete. I said, okay. But, you know, I go to the community meetings, and the water department has done presentations I feel that were confusing or conflicting. And I'm going to leave it at that.
All right, thank you for that. You brought up something that I wanted to remind everyone about. If you were a part of the Basement Backup Protection Program and you have not been serviced, and you are in one of the neighborhoods that was identified as a part of the, what do you call your program again?
Private sewer repair.
The Private Sewer Repair Program, please be sure to apply for the Private Sewer Repair Program. The basement backup protection program that was run by the Water and Sewage Department had $15 million in ARPA funding. The private sewer repair program has about $43 million from CDBG disaster recovery dollars. Again, 15 and 43. So while the basement backup protection program may be coming to a pause, I will put it that way because I know that they're continuing to apply for federal grants to be able to continue doing the work. But if you are within one of the neighborhoods for the private sewer repair program, please, please be sure to sign up. Any other questions? It is 6:59. I have time for one more. We'll have a conversation about that. Yes, that's really what it is. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Brown.
Patterson.
Ms. Patterson.
I have a question for the gentleman. Why you don't have Riverbend listed there, correct?
Oh,
It is.
it's there.
It is? Oh, I didn't hear you say
that's
that.
okay. I'll fix it. Yeah, Riverbend is is one of the neighborhoods that we're servicing.
Oh, okay. That's all I want to know because we always get left out and everything. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. I just wanted to share very quickly. There were a couple of things that I omitted from the budget that I'm ecstatic to have gotten included. One is support for a community land trust. So a community land trust is really a nonprofit community-based organization that purchases land or property and works with the community to identify how to utilize that land and property that's going to benefit the community, predominantly lower income individuals within the community. The entire focus for me is really on providing affordable housing in the city of Detroit that is more affordable to the tune of the Detroit area median income, which is anywhere between $27,000 and $30,000. And so I created a community land trust fund, was able to secure $1.25 million for the fund, but I'm looking for ways to provide dollars for the fund perpetually moving forward so that there are dollars that are there. So if there's anyone in District 4 that is interested in entertaining, understanding, thinking about a community land trust, please let me know. It's something that I did when I had the nonprofit organization. Thank you, Michelle, I see you. And I think it is very important to be able to do this because I am, as most people know, I am a native Detroiter, born and bred. I have 7 sisters and brothers. We had a lot of mouths to feed with a little bit of money, but we were always able to afford rent. We never owned a house. We were always able to afford rent. That is becoming more and more difficult as the days progress. And a community land trust can help to ensure that people of varying incomes can stay in the city of Detroit. I'm particularly fond of affordable home ownership because I believe it takes out the fluctuation of rental rates. And so that is something that I focus on every single day at the council table, just providing resources and support to help lower income families become homeowners in the city of Detroit. One of the other things that I included within the budget is for the administration to do a study to determine how much revenue could the city generate if we had a 2% sales tax on all of the businesses downtown within the central business district. If we generated a 2% sales tax, how much money would we be able to add to the general fund to provide additional support, whether for a community land trust, to reduce property taxes, to do a number of things that is primarily targeting the tourists that come to the city of Detroit. So we are doing a study that will hopefully disclose some very positive information that will then say to the administration, you know what, we need to go and talk to the folks in Lansing to be able to implement this 2% sales tax in downtown Detroit. And so those were two additional things that I wanted to be sure that I shared with you all, because when I say I'm working for you, I hope you all know that I'm working for you, okay? Lastly, I just want to share that our next month's District 4 community meeting will take place on May 20th at 5:30 at Charity Lutheran Church on Kelly Road. And we will again have the Detroit Water and Sewage Department present. And Dennis, I'm going to ask for you to reach out to the Detroit Land Bank Authority as well for them to be present next month. And that is all that I have. I will be here if anyone wants to ask me any direct questions. Dennis is holding up a set of keys. If someone has misplaced their keys, please. It has a foot that is an opener, a bottle opener. All right, well, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Again, please be sure to share the information that you have acquired. And if there is nothing else, we shall stand adjourned. No, thank you all. Have a wonderful evening. And I also want to acknowledge someone who is our District 4 Board of Review member, Teresa Dubose. Please stand. Oh, and she'd like to share a few words with you all. I asked her if she wanted to speak initially.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. How are you all? I would just like to encourage those who may be income eligible to apply for the City of Detroit's HOPE program, which is our property tax exemption program that ranges anywhere from 100% down to 25%. There is also an option for those who may be potentially in foreclosure. Again, these are income-based programs. We have some applications out in the lobby, so please pick up an application. If not for yourself, it could be for someone else. There's also, if you are a senior, again, income-based program that for a trash waiver. So if you are eligible, please take advantage of these programs, please. Thank you.
Is there a deadline for HOPE?
November is the deadline, but if you want to expedite your application and be approved before the tax bills come out, you need to apply yesterday. So please make your applications. Those applications can be made online or at various community partners, which will be listed in the application. Any questions? Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.